So I'm just gonna play a little bit on, wow, lag. Video is lagging. Let me see what I can do. It doesn't seem like there's anything I can do. So, here we go. So that's part of Vampiris. That is the end of all things, final movement. That is the ultimate crescendo. Everything in each movement starts out very slowly. Gradually works its way up. Works its way up all the way to that. Some of you may have noticed the symphony starts out very dark, very, very dark, very quiet, very slow. Slow enough that even myself, find myself getting put to sleep during the initial intro, which is called Foggy Nights. Vampiris Symphony, Movement 1, Foggy Nights. Was written on a very, very foggy night, but it was kind of magical and inspired the whole symphony. So, something to be said for the San Francisco Bay Area fog, especially, spring and fall. I believe it was actually fall when I wrote it, not spring. Would be kind of funny, though, if it turned out. I guess I can ask the one other person who was there. He might know. My friend Glenn, who I haven't seen in many a year, moved back to Pennsylvania a long time ago because it is too expensive to live here in Marin County unless you are a bazillionaire. So, unfortunately, our electronic guy had to move. He does things like playing the theremin, which it adds a lot of the creepy dissonant in the background of the symphony. And then Maurice Schwunganabe, my buddy Peace, phenomenal, renowned musician from Canada. He's a native cat. He, by far, has been one of the best guitarists that I have ever personally known as a friend in my life. Hard to say who's the absolute best, but he is definitely in the top 10 list. He's that good. So we were sitting there one night watching the fog. I got this tune. I went to sleep with it in my head. Woke up in the morning and he helped me to figure it out on the guitar. After I figured it out on guitar, it took me a year or two to figure out how to play it on the piano because I don't play piano. I was never taught. I was never trained. Have a friend, Tom Chironi. He's also here, a local Marin. And his folks actually live back home where I'm from, up in Grass Valley, Alta Sierra area. Much love for the hometown. That heart looked weird, I know. So, he has helped me kind of figure out some of the patterns as far as where to strike and where to put your fingers and, all of that good stuff. He could probably teach me all sorts of piano theory and, he's very, very adept at the music. Unfortunately for me, I'm not that good on piano, as you can tell. I miss notes here and there. I could fill it out more if I knew what I was doing, I'm sure. Ultimately, the piano part is just one of the 42 different parts that, they layer. So you've got just a solo single acoustic guitar starting out the entire symphony. And then another guitar. And then another guitar part on top of that. And then bass. And then we get the piano. And the orchestra. I'm talking violin, viola, cello, stand-up bass, French horns. I want an actual drum circle with hand drums, so djembe, doumbek, cavaquinha, caixa. Those two are Brazilian, for anyone who doesn't know. I was a carnavalisto for a short period of time. I was actually a sambisto. I was just playing the music. I don't dance and don't really do all the feathers, although I probably could. Weave some feathers into the goatee. But I've digressed. So I want the full symphony to be made sometime. I've got it all up here. I've never actually written it down so that no one can steal it. I've had all sorts of music over the years get stolen. I've also had things like a song that I wrote a long time ago. Someone overheard it, sat and listened, and I should have been much more cautious from the moment that they said that they used to be a producer for musicians, I should have immediately stopped playing, because what he did was he took my song and he sold it to a very popular band. That band then changed the song enough to make it their own, and made a ton of money off of it, because, as it's been pointed out to me recently, I do know how to write music fairly well. I just don't have the millions of dollars backing me to go ahead and make the albums and, go on a tour. Oh, that would be fun. Everyone who knows me knows I am a performance artist. Even when I'm in the kitchen cooking, I don't do it so much to put on a show, but everything I do, I treat it as someone could be watching. If someone is watching, there is potential that they could learn something, as long as I am diligent, cover all the bases, all the speaking points, give all sorts of tips, and, knowledge is power. And if only one person has power or knowledge, then it really does no good. A person is only really truly as powerful as those that they surround themselves with. Somewhat. I mean, we all have our own inner power, but we need others as a sounding board, much like the piano here has a sounding board. I hit a key. The key makes a lever push a hammer. The hammer strikes a string, and the string vibrates. And this is the physics of music, by the way. So the vibration is amplified by a soundboard, which is usually a giant iron plate. It's like that thick. It's the whole size of the width of the piano, playing on a grand right here. But the soundboard on the inside stretches across, and as things vibrate, the soundboard resonates that vibration. It's then amplified further by the box of wood that everything's contained in. And these are usually made out of some nice, solid, sturdy, hard wood that really, really resonates that tone. Then you've got the foot pedal for sustain. And see, had I been a much better piano player, I would know what all three of these pedals are for. I'm kidding. I know I don't use them because I'm not talented enough. All I do is make a bass chord, do a little melody. Really, not the most complicated stuff. But I hope to one day be able to take everything that I know about music and performance and go around the world and play music. I've got a following in Turkey that, well, I don't know if I still have a following over there. I'm sure if I popped up into a random disco party over there and started playing some of my music on guitar and singing, people would probably, realize, oh, this is that guy from California. I had a friend who, my my pen pal over in Turkey when I was in high school. Made a pen pal. And over, I think it was like 5 or 6 years, did some recordings, sent them to her, and she would just kind of play my music for people whenever she was in the car, some of her coworkers and stuff. And they started liking it and asking when, not if, when am I going to come out to Turkey to go and play for them? Well, Turkey will probably be the first stop since I've already got a fan base building there. And then places like Russia, Finland, Germany. Would love to go to Ethiopia. Go to Addis Ababa and maybe do a little music video out there. That's the other thing I'm really good at is, being a performance artist. The visual conceptualizations of music videos. I get a vision, I see it, and can usually translate it to someone who's better with, the camera work and all that. As you can tell, I'm not the greatest cameraman. I'm not the greatest musician. I'm not the greatest of anything. I'm just good at what I'm good at. And I'm good at being good. So, if you or anyone you know is interested in helping to get behind the Vampiris Symphony, or even if you've seen any of my live performance stuff with the guitar where I'm singing, like up on my Facebook page, there's a picture of me with much longer hair up on stage wearing a Shiva shirt, playing some guitar and singing. If you're familiar with it, if you know someone who would like to get behind that, I lost 2 bandmates some years ago, and haven't had the heart to start it back up. Rocking Robert Page, studied under the lead guitarist from Testament, and was teaching me how to be better on guitar. And he was my bassist. He helped to fill out the sound because that's what it needed, not out of any ego thing. He could have done lead, he could have taken my part. But he just wanted to help fill out the sound, make it a really rocking tune. And then there was Russell Jones, Rusty Fingers Jones, renowned bassist from Tennessee. He drummed for me, and he passed away, I believe, within a week of Rob's passing. So it left me very down and out. I didn't really have the heart for it anymore. But having recently talked with my former backup vocalist, Suzanne, who's got an amazing voice, by the way, with my lower notes and her just amazingly clear high notes, it just, it sounded amazing. So, talking with her has got me thinking of starting up on the music again, which is why I'm starting to sit here and try to, at least once a week, play a little bit of piano. I hope to be able to start playing the guitar again soon. It's a little hard with that bone from my wrist. Comes from down here, and then right there it juts up. Pretty obviously broken. But having a hard time with the medical personnel trying to claim that there was no injury, even though you can see it. 2 years later, they still haven't fixed it. So, one step at a time, not letting depression get the best of me. I am stronger. I know I'm strong. I know my depression is strong, but ultimately, my strength of will, my perseverance, my tenacity, these are the tools that I use in my life to just keep going, as hard as it is sometimes. And that was one of the main feelings that came out through the Vampiris Symphony. Foggy nights, sitting alone in the dark. Sure, there's some light, but it's getting blotted out by the fog. But then, through my tenacity, my will, the light starts to shine through the fog. It starts to make everything glow golden, which is really what happened. I mean, it's a true story that inspired the whole thing, a true experience. But, yeah, it started out sad and alone and built into something, though the finale is called The End of All Things. The end of all things does not necessarily mean something bad. I'm not one of those people I welcome death or anything. I like living. I like being alive, even though it's very hard. I would much rather be alive. It morphs, just like my life. So, I'm rambling, so let me finish up this video now that we're about half an hour here, 15 seconds away. Vampiris Symphony by me, Jason Sean, Richard Wright. Hopefully that Wright will be changed to Von Schrader sometime. Hopefully. That would be nice. But it's another one of those step by step in my life. It's how it goes, just step by step. So, if you or anyone you know are interested in seriously getting behind Vampiris, or, well, Mr. Wright is my stage name, but it very well could change with the changing of my last name, so we'll have to see about that. Either way, the music will still be the same. It's all written. I ain't had nothing but bad hardtack in 8 weeks. Won't you be so kind to me? Give us something to eat. A little line from my pirate song there. So, much love to you and yours. May your music be wholesome. May it evoke thoughts and feelings that maybe have not been accessible for some time. That way, there can be some healing. May all people be blessed.